Hi, I'm Geoff Garrett. I'm Dean of the Wharton School, and I'm welcoming you all to this very special day. Welcome to our faculty and staff, our family and friends, parents and partners, but above all, welcome to the 2020 graduates of the Wharton School. We're living in unprecedented times. Indeed, I think they're unimaginable times. They're full of uncertainty, challenges, and anxieties. But amid all of our concerns, I think it's really important to remember two things. First, this is a great day of celebration, celebrating the massive achievement of our graduates and giving profound thanks to all the people who've made it possible and above all, their families. But the second thing I want you to remember is that the world needs you, our graduates, not only to help us get through the crisis, but also to chart the course to a better future for us all. Many of you have heard me use the phrase, more than ever Wharton. And I use it because I think it's true. I think it's true of everything about the Wharton School, and it's true about every one of you. The world needs you more than ever. You have my heartfelt congratulations for everything you've done and my deep gratitude for all you're doing and all you will do. Along with all of you, I so wish we were physically together today. There's nothing like the energy, the excitement, and above all, the love of a Wharton graduation ceremony. But today's unique. For most of you, this is your first graduation from Wharton, the world's first and I believe the world's best business school. This is certainly, however, a first, the first ever graduation of this great school not held in person, and I know we all hope it's the last. But this is also my last graduation as Wharton Dean, and that fills me with real sadness, but also great joy. It's been the greatest privilege of my professional career to be Dean of the school because of just what an amazing institution Wharton is. But it's also been my greatest pleasure because of all the incredible people who make up that Wharton institution, and that's not least our students. Now, neither you nor I could ever have imagined that our time at Wharton would end this way, even a few months ago. But here we are, making the best of things, making the most of everything we do, and after all, that is the Wharton way. The crisis has tested us all, not only as individuals, but also as leaders. And you're all leaders, and I'm so proud of everything you're doing to lead in these challenging times. You're leading in academic discussions, both inside and outside our now virtual classrooms. You're leading by connecting with your classmates who are scattered all around the world, and you're leading in your communities, not only at Wharton and Penn, but throughout your lives. I've been thinking a lot about what leadership means in these times, and I'm thinking about it as leading in uncertain times. And my number one reaction is to believe that we don't need any more the kind of heroic leaders who say, trust me, I know the way, follow me. And the reason that's not going to work today is that none of us knows what's actually going to happen in the future. We all need others. So I have 3 suggestions about leadership, and they're all about bringing out the best in others. And of course, that is the core of leadership. So suggestion 1, be humble. You know, we're all smart people, and I know we work really hard, but none of us has all the answers. So I think leaders need to say that to everyone who works with and for them. I think I'm pretty smart, I know I work hard, but I don't have the answers and I need your help. Humility is a powerful human virtue. I think it's an incredibly important part of leadership. Second, be open. And by that, I don't only mean that we should be transparent and authentic, although those things are incredibly important. We don't want leaders who seem photoshopped, who focus group everything. We want open leaders. But there's a second challenge of openness in leadership right now that I would call explainer in chief. The world is a dizzyingly complex place. What we need is leaders who can unpack complexity and do so in a way that presents simple realities without being simplistic and without talking down to anybody. Explainer in chief we need, but it's really hard to achieve. My third leadership principle would be be committed. And by that, I'm really thinking about the profound difference between younger generations today, Gen Z, millennials, and older people. Younger people, including all of you, our graduates, are just more mission-driven and purpose-oriented than anybody before. And you expect and demand of your leaders that we're the same way. You can't have a disconnect between leaders and the people who work with them. It's just not going to get us to where we need to go. So be humble, be open, be committed. Now, 2 pieces of advice for everyone thinking about us now, not just as leaders, but as human beings. The first one is just mindset. And I think I'm an optimist by nature, but I know that we can't be naive optimists. We can't bury our head in the sands or have our eyes looking to the sky. We need to be realistic in our optimism. So optimism is a force of life. It keeps us moving, but we need to make sure that our optimism is realistic. Second thing is, we think a lot about focusing on our passions and doing things for the right reasons because we want to do them, and I endorse that 100%. But I think that kind of personal focus is just more powerful and more meaningful if we think about others at the same time. And here the 2 big words for me are empathy and compassion. Make sure that you can try always to see things from another person's perspective, to walk in their shoes. That's empathy. And then compassion is saying, if you can do something to improve the lot of other people, you should do it. So I think we all should be optimists, but let's be realistic. And of course, we should focus on our passions, but let's have lots of empathy and compassion to go along with it. Now, I can tell you that right now, my primary goal is to leave the Wharton School in the best possible shape for our incoming Dean, Erica James. And I want to let you know that the Dean transition is in full swing. I've spent many hours one-on-one with Erica and now additional hours in team meetings with her. I know the school is in great hands with Erica James, and I also know that the world is going to need Wharton going forward. The world needs Wharton because we need 2 things, I think. The first one is creative thinking about extraordinary challenges, out-of-the-box thinking, do things differently. Wharton's great at that. But we also need the core skill of a rigorous business school like Wharton, and I would call that the skill which is the discipline of turning ideas into outcomes that are going to matter, outcomes that are going to make the world a better place. I know that's why you came to Wharton. And it's why I've enjoyed so much watching you grow and flourish in your time at the school. And it's why I can't wait to see what you're going to do now that you're leaving. So on behalf of the entire school, I want to send you hearty and sincere congratulations. Congratulations to our 2020 graduates.
Good afternoon or good morning, graduates of the class of 2020, friends and family. My name is Peggy Bishop-Lane, and I'm the Vice Dean of the Wharton MBA Program for Executives. When we first talk to prospective students about the WEMBA program, we often talk about how it's a transformational experience. But when we say transformational, we aren't usually thinking about the kind of transformation we're all facing today. And yet I'm happy to say that even though we weren't predicting these kinds of transformations, your Wharton experience has prepared you for this very thing. We are faced today with more change, disruption, uncertainty, opportunity than our population has faced in decades. And yet this is exactly what you've been working toward for the past 2 years. There are some key aspects of this time that you've mastered during the WEMBA program. And let's start with change. When you started, you had to embrace change. In fact, you opted into it. You changed how you operated at work, at home, with friends, and with family. Some changed the way they commuted, some changed the way they slept, others changed how they studied. Second, many of us are quite uncomfortable with the current situation. Many, or possibly most of you, felt uncomfortable when you first started in WEMBA. but you persevered until what might have made you uncomfortable no longer did. And in fact, you looked forward to it. You looked forward to having class with all of these wickedly smart people, looked forward to traveling to campus, even looked forward to staying at the hotel. For many, we are working harder than ever to deal with this pandemic. You were all hard workers when you started, but then you added 20 or more hours a week of schoolwork, and after embracing change and getting comfortable with the uncomfortable, you worked even harder and succeeded, whether it was earning honors, making it through Smetter's class, or finding that new role. You did what you might not have thought was possible. A hallmark of this time is that it is filled with uncertainty. Well, in Wemba, you've lived through uncertainty and come out on the other side. How could you add in all of these extra school responsibilities and have a child and take care of a sick relative and live through the upheavals at work and start a new job? Much of this degree is filled with uncertainty. Not just how you'll manage everything, but will you enjoy the new subject? Will you remember math? Will you make friends and connections? Will you get to Japan in the middle of a typhoon? Will you position yourself for promotion? You met the uncertainty head on, so you've been there, done that. Finally, this crisis demands that we act as a unified community. You could not have accomplished what you did at Wharton without thinking about people other than yourselves. You learned how and when to prioritize work, family, or school. You learned when to give more to the team than you were getting. Nothing has been more apropos of this than the amazing work your class has done to support the doctors and hospitals that were directly related to your class at first, and then even more broadly. This is the perfect representation of how the network can be utilized to do so much good. It demonstrates fully how you took uncertainty and uncomfortable situation and worked even harder than ever with and for your classmates to achieve something truly brilliant. All of you are capable of these things in many different scenarios. When we celebrate commencement rather than graduation, we are celebrating the fact that your experience has prepared you for the next big thing in your life. You've never been more ready than today to face the things that life has in store for you. Congratulations. Now go get them. We'll be your biggest cheerleaders. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our surprise faculty speaker. This professor was most beloved by your class on both coasts. He helped get you started on the right foot in the program, making sure you came to class prepared, were ready to think strategically throughout the program, and knew how to handle a cold call. You all know him from the core classroom, but the world knows him for his scholarship, especially his recent best-selling book, Connected Strategy. I present to you Professor Nicolaj Siggelkow.
Salve et gratulationes cohors duo milia viginti. Since you don't get to see us wearing our academic gowns, I thought I would at least address you in Latin to provide some gravitas to this speech. I'm very honored and happy to have the opportunity to speak a few words to you. I had the pleasure to see you at the very beginning of your Wemba journey, and so it's a delight to bookend your experience with a short message. First of all, of course, congratulations. To me, it's quite often a puzzle of how you do it. Juggle work, family, and professors who demand from you a workload as if the other two elements don't exist. You have done it, and you certainly should be proud of it. Congratulations, of course, are also due to your families, your co-workers, and all who helped you through this journey. This was clearly a joint effort. Now, I hope you can think back to that first week of your program and the identity exercise you did. I would encourage you to go back to it, revise it. You may have added a new identity. Some identities may have become stronger, others may have faded more into the background. Right now is certainly a great time for some self-reflection. Not for nothing is this event called a commencement. You're starting something new. At a minimum, you can call yourself now an alumna or an alumnus of the Wharton School. Obviously, this video was not the way we all had hoped we would interact at the end of your journey. We live in quite unusual times, but I'm sure we will come out of this. At the same time, though, I think the present situation raises some very interesting reminders at various levels. At the individual level, it highlights the amazing power of courage and compassion. We cannot praise high enough the efforts of so many, from healthcare workers to first responders to sanitation workers to really anyone who supports their stricken neighbors and shows truly heroic efforts. And I'm particularly proud of so many of you who have contributed to this fight. You truly represent the best of Wharton. Now, at the organization level, the current crisis highlights the importance of leadership. It has become a bit of a sport, particularly in academic circles, to be extremely skeptical of how much leaders can do. And of course, a leader is never doing a lot by her or himself in contrast to the thousands or even millions of employees or members of their organizations. Yet we currently can clearly see the tremendous effect that leadership has in mobilizing, coordinating, and inspiring everyone to achieve a great goal. Lastly, at the level of humanity as a whole, this damn little virus reminds us that we are just part of nature, like everything else that lives on this planet. It will hopefully teach us a bit more humility. We are part of nature. We cannot live against nature. Now, let me conclude with one of my favorite sayings. Success is when smart planning, hard work, and good luck meet opportunity. Now, Wharton hopefully has provided you with the tools to do the smart planning. We all know that you can work really hard, so all that I'm left with is wishing you all the good luck to meet that opportunity, to go out there, to be successful, and to create a lot of value. All the best to you.
Thank you, Nicolaj. It is now my pleasure to recognize your classmates who have contributed to your experience in outstanding ways. You have selected these classmates based on their work and dedication in 3 areas: teamwork, spirit, and leadership. The Benjamin Franklin Award is bestowed on the student who has exhibited a strong work ethic, demonstrated a practical application of ideas, fostered teamwork, and was quick to lend a helping hand to give back to the class. From the Philadelphia program, the Benjamin Franklin Award goes to Colin Brightman. From the San Francisco program, we recognize and thank Shilpa Kaji with the Benjamin Franklin Award. The Dean Spirit Award recognizes the student who has been a catalyst in bringing the class together and contributed to the Wharton experience by generating enthusiasm among the class. In Philadelphia, we recognize Rick King with the Dean Spirit Award. In San Francisco, we present the Spirit Award to Caitlin Chin. On behalf of your classmates, thanks to both of you for making these 2 years remarkable. The Dean's Leadership Award is given to the student who best exemplifies innovative thinking, perseverance, and leadership. In Philadelphia, we are proud you have selected Ye Zhang for this honor. In San Francisco, this honor proudly goes to John Wong. We are also extremely proud of our academic award winners. Students whose GPA is in the top 20% of the graduating class earn graduation with honors. Students whose GPA is in the top 5% of the class are named Palmer Scholars. Please see the program for this celebration for those winners, as well as our faculty who are teaching award winners. Congratulations. To continue our celebration of WEMBA 44, please enjoy this slideshow of special moments from your 2-year journey. A final and hearty congratulations on all of your achievements. And on behalf of all of us, I send a huge thank you to the friends, co-workers, and families, especially the partners and the children of our graduates, for all of their support throughout the last 2 years. We know that our graduates could not have accomplished all they did without that support. We look forward to celebrating with you all again in person in the coming months. Congratulations, WEMBA 44, Class of 2020. And now it's my pleasure to introduce to you our final speaker for today, the Vice Dean for External Affairs, Sam Lundquist.
Congratulations, Wharton Class of 2020. I'm Sam Lundquist, Vice Dean of External Affairs at the Wharton School. Today is the first day of the rest of your life as a Wharton alumni. And the External Affairs team works hard to keep you connected to the school. We do it by keeping the global Wharton network alive and strong for you. It's 100,000 alumni in 153 different countries around the world. And we have 76 alumni clubs ready to serve you no matter where you go after graduation. This is why you chose Wharton. The alumni community is more important than ever before, so please engage. The Wharton brand is now part of your personal brand, so use it well. Congratulations, and see you in Philadelphia as soon as possible.